Do you want to know how much a shooter spends in 3 years' time? He spends almost ₹1,000,000, or roughly 9.27 lakhs in 3 years. Or in the US and abroad, he spends anything between $64,000 to $100,000 in 3 years. Shocked? Please watch this video. It will give you the complete information and details. We are going to discuss in this video how much it costs a shooter to continue with the sport of shooting for a period of 3 years. Now in this video you will see the cost of time invested in shooting for 3 years in India. The time value is very important and something which is neglected in India and abroad. See, every person has a value to the time that he spends working. In India, a stonemason or a bricklayer earns about 800 rupees an hour. So for an 8 hours day, if you divide 800 by 8, it comes to 100 rupees an hour. And that is the basic minimum cost I have taken for a shooter who is not working, who's a student. And the time spent on the range is minimum 2 hours. Now he takes an average traveling time to the range and back from his house, say 1 hour. So the total time spent per day minimum is 3 hours. The value of these 3 hours is 3 into 100 is rupees 300. For 25 days training in a month, the cost is 300 rupees into 25 days, that's 7,500. For total 300 days training annually, out of 365, 300 days training, the cost is about 90,000 or rupees 1 lakh per year. And for 3 years, it is 3 lakhs. The same cost of time invested in shooting for 3 years in the United States, calculated at $20 per hour, is $18,000 per year. For 3 years, it comes to $54,000. The next item is the cost of air pistol and the tins that a shooter spends in India. The cost of air pistol is say 1.75 lakhs. Now if you took that 1,75,000 and invested in some business, it would give you at least 10% returns. So 10% returns on 1,75,000 for 3 years is 50,000 rupees. The cost of one pellet tin is rupees 750. If you use 4 tins per month, then in 12 months, 48 tins or 50 tins rounded off. The total value of tins annually is 50 tins into 750 rupees is 37,500 per year. The total investment in tins for 3 years comes to 1,12,500. And the total investment in pistol, interest and tins for 3 years comes to 3,37,000. Now I've just divided it by 75 rupees, that's the cost of $1, and it comes to roughly $5,000. Now this is a very, very low figure for United States, but for simple calculation's sake, I have calculated it by dividing 3,37,000 rupees by 75 rupees, and it gives you, rounded off, $5,000 in 3 years. Next, we go to the cost of competition, traveling, lodging and boarding, and the range fees. The competition entry fees on an average in India per competition is about rupees 1,000. So if you participate in 6 competitions in a year, it comes to rupees 6,000. The traveling cost from your hometown to the competition venue is equals to rupees 5,000. It also includes the traveling cost from the hotel to the competition venue in the particular city in which the competition is held. The traveling cost for 6 competitions a year is 30,000. Lodging and boarding expenses per competition is on an average 5,000 rupees. For 6 competitions in a year, it comes to 30,000 rupees. The annual range fees for 12 months is about 2,500 into 12 is 30,000 rupees. Now, total annual expenses for cost of competition, lodging, boarding, traveling, and range fees is 2 plus 4 plus 6 plus 7, rounded off is 1 lakh. In 3 years, it comes to 3 lakhs. I've done the same thing for United States. I've just divided 3 lakhs by 75 rupees. That's the cost of $1. And it comes to $4,300 in 3 years. Actually, this is a very, very low estimate. For simple calculation, I have done so. Finally, the total expenses for 3 years in India, the cost of time invested in shooting for 3 years comes to 3 lakhs. The investment in fiscal interest for 3 years comes to 3,37,000. The cost of competition, traveling, lodging, boarding, and range fees is 3 lakhs. The total expenses for 3 years comes to 9 lakh, 9.37 lakhs, which is bare minimum. Bare minimum. If you study it a little deeply, it comes to about 10 lakhs or 1 million rupees. The total expenses for United States works to about $64,000 to about $100,000 for 3 years. So I know that it comes as a real shock to you. You never ever imagined that shooting in India for 3 years would cost you 1 million rupees or 10 lakhs, or in the US it would cost you $100,000. But we never bother to count the pennies.